What's going on, guys? I'm Landon from Shoewear. Drip down in this Giannis gear because today we're checking out the Nike Giannis Immortality in this force field colorway. Let's go.
I just come up out the grass, won't slow down, I'm on a ass. Switching lanes, I'm moving fast, won't catch up, I'm in my bag. Catch me speeding in a Jaguar, research on me, memoir. Rolls Royce, smash stars, bro be flipping black tar. You won't get no play for me, run my bag up faithfully. I came up on 16, me and my dog got 8 apiece. That's just how real niggas bleed, she got dub, she for the streets.
All right, so first, thank you guys for stopping by to check us out. Feel free to give this video a like and drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching. We would greatly appreciate that. But now let's go ahead and hit on the box and the price for these quickly first. So these are going to come in a little bit of a different box setup than the Zoom Freak line with Giannis's player logo kind of centered in the top of that box. And then this is like a deep blue kind of colored box for the entire thing. And then you are going to have his like first name show up on the front of the box, followed by his last name on the back of the box. But definitely nothing too special to go into detail on for these. But as for the price, these do retail for the low cost of $80. So definitely a budget-friendly option for people that like Giannis and don't want to pay, you know, the $120 for his Zoom Freak shoe line, or, you know, just people looking for a cheaper option in general as well. But that covers the box and the price for these, so let's move on. All right, so before we look at like the materials and the performance side of these, let's just do a quick rundown on the appearance for them first. So this is sort of an alternate shoe line for Giannis Antetokounmpo's Zoom Freak line with Nike. So it's going to be similar to like the KD Trey or like the Kyrie Flytrap options, you know, if any of those models ring a bell for you. But I will say that these don't really draw any comparisons or like any similarities to the first three lines from that Zoom Freak shoe line. You know, these are pretty unique, or I mean, really not many similarities to those models from what I've noticed. But this force field colorway, it actually is pretty cool because you're going to see on this left shoe where it says Super Smoothie on the tongue, and it's going to be followed by like some various fruits. You got like grapes, strawberries, bananas just on the inside of that upper. And that's actually because the theme for these is kind of meant to represent the first time that Giannis tried a smoothie, which was back in 2014. You know, I guess he was posting about it on his Twitter. So, you know, not that that's important or like relevant to the shoe model itself, but now you at least know why there are like random fruit on this colorway if you ended up buying them, or if you end up buying them or already have bought them. Now you know. But really quick, just kind of giving my opinion just on the overall appearance for these. I do like how they kind of added some waves to that midsole on the backside. Although I will say that I don't really love how it kind of smooths up near the front. Although I'm not really sure what I would have wanted them to do differently. Maybe kind of keep that squiggle design going all the way up. But, you know, it still looks pretty solid. But you do have sort of like a weird incline on the back of these shoes. But there is some text on there. The left shoe has Athens, since, you know, Giannis is from Greece. The right shoe is going to have his parents' hometown. So, I mean, anyone who knows or like kind of watches Giannis can kind of see just how big he is on family. So even on the bottom of these, you're going to see in some small print, like the names of his parents, and then the names of his brothers also show up on the outsole, just on the bottom of these shoes. So there's also some cool stitching around this Nike logo, or the Nike swoosh, I guess, on the side of the upper. So altogether, you know, definitely not a bad look for these, but that kind of covers the appearance on these. So now let's go ahead and move on to see how these shape up for performance. All right, so for the last half of this review, I'll combine the materials, the comfort, the traction, just basically how these play on the court. So starting with cushioning, these are rocking with a Phylon midsole, which does honestly play a little bit better than expected. You're gonna have to remember we are dealing with an $80 kind of subline to a shoe, so it's not gonna be the main course. But after some time playing in these, you are gonna start to notice some like creases in the midsole from like repeated compression, and that actually just kind of shows that the shoe is doing its job, because as you can see, there are some like cutouts on that midsole, and that's to kind of like help reduce the weight, but it's also going to like allow the shoe to compress and expand, and that's just going to give you kind of a better overall responsiveness feel whenever you're playing. But moving on to the upper, it's pretty clear that, you know, from the jump, you don't have the highest quality materials at play on this upper. That's kind of where they cut the cost. The entire upper, or at least kind of the front 2/3 of that, is going to be made up of some pretty breathable mesh that definitely does help keep these lightweight, because that is for sure the first thing that I noticed whenever I first kind of started to move around in these, is just kind of how light they were. And then you do have a couple of fuse overlays in some of the high wear areas. So there is some solid lateral containment for these on the price as well. And there is actually an internal strap that kind of runs across or wraps over the midfoot as well. So side to side coverage, that's always going to be like a major focal point with any Giannis shoe line, in my opinion, because this guy, he uses the Euro step like every other possession. So he's going to need to be locked in at all times. But then jumping to the bottom of these to check out the traction, that's actually one of the standout points from this shoe. So you're going to see it's like a herringbone pattern, kind of sectioned off or like kind of broken up in a few different places throughout the shoe, but it keeps that herringbone pattern. And that's kind of like the standard for like all shoes right now as far as traction goes. It's going to give you a really, or at least a pretty consistent playing experience. And, the grooves are actually fairly deep on these, so you shouldn't have to do too much like excessive wiping to keep a sticky feel, to keep them clean. But to finish off with sizing, I actually had to go a half size up because they were sold out of my true to size, but I honestly don't regret it. I wouldn't call this shoe like a narrow shoe, but it does have a snug fit in the beginning, but it definitely does start to loosen up the longer you play. So honestly, I would probably recommend just kind of staying with your true to size for these, but overall, we are looking at a shoe that is below $100 mark, so it still has some solid lateral containment, and the traction's pretty good too. So for a budget shoe, these definitely check out just fine for me. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our unboxing and performance review on the Nike Giannis Immortality Force Field. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. If you're interested in purchasing these shoes, just go ahead and check out the links in the description below. Also, be sure to click the link in our bio, and from there you can find our shoes that are available for sale on our website. You can also head over to our social media just to kind of stay informed on upcoming sneaker releases. And then last, just feel free to leave a comment below if you like this review, or just let us know any other shoes you want us to check out. But until next time, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.